And now we're going to go live to Lapland to hear directly from Rudy, who is the Chief Campaigns Officer at Reindeers Against Net Zero. Welcome, Rudy. It's been 1 year since you launched your campaign. Tell us, how is it going? Yeah, really well, actually. We've expanded our focus outside of just net zero, looking at the Climate Change Act as well. And we're working with some new voices that we've recruited in the UK. But is it having any impact, though? Because I've got some stats here which suggest that the majority of people still support taking action on climate change, still support the net zero target. And which poll is that from? The South Pole? Actually, every single poll I've seen says that. Right, well, polls aren't everything, are they? As we say in the North Pole, the proof is in the Christmas pudding. So really, it depends on if people are taking action or not. Indeed. So how do you explain the rise in rooftop solar? So, for example, I think a new record was reached in November 2025 this year. A record number of 200,000 installations across the year, taking the total of small-scale solar installations up to 1.85 million. How do you explain that? Well, actually, I don't think that is about net zero. I think that's about cost. So we know that energy bills are much higher than they were before the gas price crisis. And so it's understandable that people might want to install solar panels on their roofs to bring down the cost of their own energy. I just think it's slightly selfish this time of year to not think about magic reindeers, especially when we have already very clearly explained how hard it is to land a sleigh on a slanted roof as it is, let alone when there's solar panels there. GB Energy has not helped. I don't mind schools, that's fine, we won't go in there anyway, but hospitals, it's just making our job a lot harder. How are we supposed to deliver presents for sick children when we can't even land on the roof? It's just selfish. And what about insulation? That was one of your key asks last year, because if I understand it correctly, the more that people insulate their homes, the more they keep the heating and the colder the roofs become, is that right? Exactly that. And you may remember our campaign from last year, cold roofs, cold hooves. The situation has got worse. I think people are cottoning on to the fact that if they insulate their homes, then they can bring down their energy bills for good because they're wasting less heat. And not only have we seen a massive decline in chimneys, people are insulating their homes even more as they upgrade to electric heating as well. So it's a bit of a double whammy, really, because it's taking old FC longer to find ways into homes, and meanwhile we're stood up on the roofs, freezing our bloody bells off. But surely insulation is good for the environment? Oh, absolutely. Great for the environment, just terrible for reindeer podiatry. The one thing that we can be grateful for is that the Warm Homes Plan seems to be delayed, so that gives us a little bit more time before most homes are made much more energy efficient and are able to keep in that heat. But with any luck, that'll be delayed, hopefully till after next Christmas, who knows, maybe even the one after that. And finally, I must ask, 1 year on from the closure of Ratcliffe, the UK's last coal-fired generating power station, how are you sourcing the coal for naughty children? Well, look, we do try and source locally where we can. But unfortunately, in the case of the GB naughty children, our hooves are tied. We did look at other options. We considered carrying oil and gas on board. Unfortunately, the herd was not happy about that. So reluctantly, we have had to look at importing coal for the naughty children of Great Britain. Well, that can't be good for methane emissions. Thank you very much, Rudy. And you heard it here first. Reindeers importing coal for the naughty children of Great Britain. And now on to our next story.
Get me the head elf on the phone now.